Public servants warned against unnecessary overseas trips. Infighting affects work on houses at Beon Prison. And major improvements for Wewak Hospital.
This is National EMTV News with Lorraine Genia.
Good evening and welcome to Wednesday's news. The national government spent close to 50 million kina in 2015 for overseas trips taken by public servants. Speaking at the Leaders Forum today, Chief Secretary Isaac Lupari said the national government has put a stop to unnecessary trips overseas. All overseas trips taken by public servants will receive approval from his office.
The national government's decision to regulate overseas trips comes after a massive amount of money totaling to over 50 million kina for overseas trips in 2015. Mr. Lupari said this decision is part of the cross-cutting issue in the public service machinery. Mr. Lupari said it was noted that most overseas trips was a waste of public funds that could be used for other service delivery. These meetings most times didn't bring back benefits. Meanwhile, Personnel Management Department Secretary John Kali said the national government's direction will be fully implemented.
And the Chief Secretary is implementing that direction, and I'm supportive of that. But, like he said, for any special, overseas trips.
Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
The opposition has supported the call made by the police union yesterday to stop politicians from interfering with the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary. The call was made after the union received information that there were discussions underway to replace Police Commissioner Gary Bucky. However, the opposition also challenged why the union was silent when some of their colleagues needed support to fight what they term is injustice.
Opposition leader Don Pollier is urging the whole of the public service to look at the call from the police union and to stand for their rights. However, he said the opposition would also want to see the police union fight for the rights of their colleagues. Those he named are the National Fraud and Anti-Corruption Director Matthew Damaru and his staff, Deputy Director Timothy Gitua and Thomas Elu, who are looking for lawyers to represent them in court.
There are three very important police officers who've been fighting for the all of Papua New Guinea, who've been fighting to keep the integrity of the police force as an independent constitutional office intact in prosecuting and upholding the laws, and the police union never came out in full support to them. And that's why I believe that the police union should also look at that area.
Yesterday, the police union gave a stern warning to the government to stop interfering with RPNGC. They want the constabulary to be stable, for them to prepare in advance to provide security for upcoming international events.
And what these factions in the government and the corridors powers in Wagani right now are doing is not for the good of the people. And that is why the police union strongly, in the strongest term possible, want to stop him. Stop it. That's the message.
The opposition is also questioning the Public Employees Association, which is the mother association of all the unions in the public sector in PNG, as to why they have been silent for so long.
Why is the police union jumping up and down all of a sudden when we have all these issues here affecting Papua New Guinea?
Vasenata Yama, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, Police Commissioner Gary Bucky says he respects the call by the police union. Yesterday, the union called on all its members to be on standby to withdraw operations nationwide after hearing rumours that the police commissioner may be removed.
The union has every right to say what they say, because they are a political arm of the members of the Royal Papua New Guinea. So I respect what they say, but it should the reaction by the union is basically attributed to all these issues affecting both CS. You can see that the CS and the PNG Power are using that, and because information is available to them, people talking directly to them about the possibility of what could interrelate and affect the police, they've reacted. And I'll have to reiterate the fact. It's my minister and the Prime Minister. They are the only two people that will tell me directly whether my employment and my appointment as the Commissioner of Police is in the best interest of the government. For the union, as the Commissioner of Police, I have a responsibility to make sure that the organization maintains what is expected of him.
Opposition leader Don Pollier also questioned delays in prosecuting people charged with obvious crimes. He said PNG needs timely justice or it will see the rights of every citizen under threat. The opposition leader was backed by his deputies Sam Basil, Lay MP Lojaya Koza, Kikori MP Mark Maipakai and Goilala MP William Sam.
The opposition came out in numbers today to raise concerns about the current state of justice in the country. The opposition leader spoke about alleged cases against Prime Minister Peter O'Neill and the recent breakout at Beon Prison. Leader Don Pollier says delayed tactics and the slow processing of remandees is serious and constitutional officers must not be interfered with for justice to prevail.
The systems that have been put in place to protect justice, they have not done enough. We need to see that present gap in justice for the people of this country need to be improved.
Deputy Opposition Leader and Bulolo MP Sam Basil lashed out at recent changes of police commissioners by the NEC.
O'Neill John government has gone through 3 or 4 police commissioners. Our constitutional office holders are not doing their job properly.
We must allow for ethical values to prevail. Complement that with the Constitution.
Top of the agenda concerning the opposition is the case involving Prime Minister Peter O'Neill over the 71.8 million paid to Paraka lawyers, the 3 billion kina UBS loan and the 50 million kina purchase of generators from Israel. Regarding the shooting of escapees at Beon Prison, Lay MP Lojaya Koza says proper investigation must be carried out whether human rights laws have been breached or not.
As a member for Lay, I would ask that Human Rights Commission come and investigate the situation that happened at Beon. Start from there and then look at the entirety of human rights cases beginning at the highest level.
The opposition will be pushing the agendas of human rights and justice in this year's first parliament sitting. Jack Lapave Jr., National EMTV News.
The Beon Prison in Madang is facing a relatively bleak future in the next few months as funds for much-needed housing renovations dry up. It is understood the infighting over the Corrections Service Commissioner's post has affected the flow of project funds. The renovations happening at the prison are a result of a court order imposed 2 years ago after CS officers sued the state over poor living conditions.
2 years ago, the Provincial Health Department condemned 21 houses here at Madang's Beon Prison. The decision then resulted in a chain of events. A group of CS officers took their employer, the Correctional Service, to court on grounds that the government, through the Correctional Service, had abused their human rights. The court then ruled in their favor, ordering the Correctional Service to pump in funding for urgent renovations, which were to happen over a 2-year period.
All those houses are condemned by Health Department or condemning all.
This is what standard government housing for some prison officers looks like. This bush material building is still home to an officer and his family awaiting the construction of new buildings.
Almost, say, 30 to 20 years without a maintenance institution. So, still currently we have 2 officers living in a bush material house, 5 officers living in semi-permanent housing.
At another part of the prison compound, Corporal Jack Ningi shows me his house. It's a typical village house built on government institutional land to house a government employee tasked with the job of making sure prisoners don't break out.
I've been in ever since me transfer in here from Mendy in 2004.
Me come stop me building sa bus me house me stop now mas 11 years something me stop here 12 years me stop here.
In November this year, the prison commander will be tasked by the court as per the court order 2 years ago to report on the progress of the renovations. But with the infighting at headquarters, the flow of funds have slowed to a trickle. There is now uncertainty over when the next lot of funding will come to finish the ongoing projects like these kit homes being erected. Scott Waide, National MTV News, Medang.
An application to stay the Supreme Court decision on the reinstatement of Michael Waipo as Correctional Services Commissioner was rejected by the Waigani National Court this afternoon. The application was filed by NEC-appointed Commissioner Bernard Nepo. While rejecting the application, Judge Terence Higgins said the Supreme Court has already made a decision on the matter, and if Nepo wants to pursue the case, it should be heard by a three-man bench. The application was to stay the Supreme Court orders pending the outcome of the Supreme substantive matter. The Waigani Committal Court has struck out the murder case involving 6 PNGDF soldiers in relation to the death of a student in Port Moresby last year. The ruling handed down by Magistrate John Calmi was on the grounds that police investigation files were not ready on time. It was disappointing news for the family of late Jeremiah Yinu, who died after he was allegedly beaten by the 6 defendants.
The defendants are Francis Nasi, Jude Nidung, David Taipe, Kenneth Yangan, Tobias Samson, Gregory Tuaki, and Alvin Matiabe. All are between the ages of 25 and 26. It was alleged that a fight broke out between a group of students from Kilakila Secondary and the defendants on the morning of 25th July last year. The court had that the students were on their way to Kilakila Secondary for a Cultural Day celebration when 2 of the soldiers approached them and assaulted them. That evening, the late Jeremiah Inu, who was a student at Salvation Army Secondary, was mistaken for one of the Kilakila students and was badly assaulted by Francis Nasi and Jude Nidung, who were allegedly under the influence of alcohol. The matter has been heard at the Waigani Committal Court since it was first mentioned in August 2015 and has been adjourned numerous times until this morning. All defendants were charged for 1 count of murder under the Criminal Code Act. They were granted bail and have been attending court under the imposed bail conditions until the case was struck out today. However, this is not the end of the matter. If police discover new evidence, the defendants can be rearrested and charged. But for now, all 6 soldiers are free men, and the charges against them have been dropped, leaving family and friends of the late Jeremiah Inu asking for justice. Tekla Gunga, National MTV News.
An Eastern Highlands man was found guilty by the Waigani Committal Court for stealing over 9,000 kina. Senior Magistrate Cosmas Bida handed down the verdict after defendant Jacob Anito admitted to committing the offence.
It was alleged that on 28 January this year, Anito snatched the bilum of a woman at Erima. The bilum contained 9,000 kina, money the complainant had withdrawn to pay for her children's school fees. The court heard that when Anito grabbed the bag and ran away, he was chased by the complainant and her family. However, during the tussle, the bilum had disappeared and Anito was taken to the complainant's house and was brought to the police station the next day. This morning, Magistrate Bidar said he was satisfied with the evidence presented in court. He stated that prosecutions have established proof and the court found Anito guilty of stealing. His sentencing will be heard on April 5th. Tekla Gunga, National MTV News.
A computerized cell management system introduced by the Australian Federal Police has improved the work of police in Lae. The new system has given police access to a central database containing photographs and pictures of every person who has been processed by police. In previous years, complaints are recorded manually in an occurrence book. The old method of writing down complaints had been a setback for Lae police.
The centralized management system was introduced in 2014 through the support of the Australian Federal Police. Prior to the introduction of the cell management system, police personnel had to manually write down complainants' statements in the main occurrence book. After the complaints were written down in the occurrence book, the offenders are then taken down to the cells where the police then fill out the details of the offenders in an offense management system. This is where offenders' photographs are taken using this camera.
It's probably about 2 years old now, has over 5,000 images in there of people who have been lodged inside the lay central cells. It's actually quite a simple program to use and has been well received by any of the operators here from the RPUGC.
Its effectiveness became evident when 87 prisoners broke out from the Buimo Correctional Facility in late February. Police were able to compile a list of the prisoners with their photographs. It also helps with court listings. Police are now able to identify people who have been in custody for long periods and haven't been to court. Police are now also able to identify and locate suspects more quickly than in previous years. However, lay police do not have records of suspects and criminals who have been arrested and charged prior to the introduction of the new cell management system in 2014. Information of the criminals arrested and charged before these new systems are recorded in the manual record book.
But previous ones they in manual system, but those ones right now in the system, they are all captured in that new cell management system.
The cell management system leaves behind the whole method of writing down complaints in the occurrence book. The system helps police release the right person from the cell. The system will also reduce overcrowding over time. Food rations have also been managed with the limited number of prisoners and suspects in the cells.
Those prisoners that had been processed through the cell management system, we were able to then compile a list of them with their photographs, which has assisted in the process of recapturing those prisoners. It also helps with court lists. We're able to identify when someone has been in custody.
The Buimo Correctional Service is now working to install the system. With police and CS having the same system, it is hoped existing challenges will be reduced and efficiency improved. Mata Luis, National EMTV News, Ley.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching National EMTV News. Wewak General Hospital is planning major changes both in its clinical facilities and its human resource management. Over the years, the 54-year-old medical institution in the East Sepik province has been left to deteriorate. The new Chief Executive Officer, Mark Mauludu, has already set in motion plans to ensure a stop to this downward trend and re-establish a premier hospital.
Set in an idyllic location in Wewak, the hospital caters for around 400,000 to 500,000 people in the East Sepik province. In March 1962, Beon Provincial Hospital was officially opened to serve both the East and West Sepik provinces. This maintenance work done on surgical wards 2A and B is the first maintenance or renovation work of any kind that is being done on the hospital in over 50 years. According to CEO Mark Mauludu, the whole hospital infrastructure contains asbestos, the toxic building material that needs to be properly disposed. Since work started on the wards, it has taken about a month for the contractors to tear down this section of the hospital.
For last year, they gave us about 3 million, which this is in the paving the way for us to now pulling down these two wards now. So now we've got that 3 million with us, which we have already started engaging a contractor to work on that.
This work is expected to be completed by June this year, and Mauludu says this is the start of big plans for the hospital.
We are planning to move swiftly through all the wards to replace them. once we have the money. So that's our prediction that next week we hope that either Minister or Secretary for Health will make some announcement on that, on the funding support for us. Yeah.
While the hospital facility is experiencing a facelift, work has also started on the welfare and growth of the hospital staff.
In terms of manpower, we have gone through a structure. We have gone through a structure. We have tried to upgrade a number of positions, especially in the past. We don't have enough doctors' positions. We have now done that.
All these plans are contained in a 5-year corporate plan that Mauludu will present to an annual general meeting next week, Monday.
And we're also looking at other open members. There are 6 of open members, which 2 of them are the state ministers. We're inviting all of them to come with the governor, Grand Chief Sir Michael Samara. If they can attend to our meeting next week, then that's the time that we'll be talking about what we want to do for them in the remainder of this year. Basically, we'll be asking them if you can help us with finance, then we can be able to overhaul the hospital in terms of maintenance program. They've got the money, but we need to sell the hospital to them.
Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
Popondetta town in Northern Province urgently needs a backup water supply to maintain its needs a backup water source to maintain its supply. The temporary dam in the town is the only source of water supply for the town area. Water PNG and the provincial government hope to work together to solve the ongoing water issues faced by residents.
According to Water PNG Popondetta, this temporary dam gets washed away 2 to 3 times every year because of flooding.
Big rain is coming and we get floods. But we are trying to maintain, currently we are trying to maintain this wall there, and we have river training 1 kilometer upstream. It costs money to actually maintain those.
Currently only 1 pump is powering water to the main storage tanks, but there's the fear it can break down anytime. Mr. Waike said a pump was replaced after it broke down and thanked Oro provincial leaders for their rescue.
3 pumps actually went down. We tried the pumps, we tried to rewire the pumps to give us the kind of the performance, but we could not get a pump.
With this ongoing problem, Mr. Waike said Water PNG Popondetta branch cannot extend its work to other projects because funds have been used on the same project.
Every year we're trying to go and do the same thing over and over. What we should do is move from there, fix this problem up, and then look at other issues like supplying water to some of the communities who really desperately needs help.
Meantime, Water PNG Popondetta is looking at other alternative water source and working with the Oro provincial government to ensure clean and safe water is maintained.
We need everybody's cooperation. We need everybody's help. We need the government's help. We need business, the businesses, they help like the Higaturu, and so that we can address this issue and put it to rest.
Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
Naomi Pamraka, the nurse that assisted young mum Licia Elisa on a rural medivac from Morbe's Aseki Talay, says the mother and child are in stable condition after doctors conducted a cesarean to remove the baby in the afternoon. Licia had birth complications that couldn't be handled by a rural outpost, and a Manalas chopper was contacted by a community health worker to airlift her to Lay's Angao Hospital yesterday. Nurse Naomi was with the young mum yesterday and checked on the two this morning, bringing the child baby clothes. Manalos Aviation continues to carry out medivacs under an agreement with the Morbe provincial government.
And the mother is also doing well at the gynae ward, and the baby is also doing well with the pediatric, in the special care nursery, looked after by the pediatricians. So I'm so thankful to the Angao Memorial Hospital doctors for what they did for both the mother and the baby right at the hospital, and the nurses for the cares that are given to both, which was life-saving for both.
Dulux head office in Ley has commissioned a new fire system amidst the growing numbers of fires in the city. Among its 9 water taps surrounding the company's premises was a tap stationed and pointed towards Ley's main market. Its production and warehouse manager Matthew Effie says the company is also utilising its community relations program with the inclusion of a tap for Lae market.
The company had a run-through of the whole system with Lae's fire service personnel to identify its effectiveness in putting out a fire while waiting for a fire truck and fire experts. Lae Fire Service Commander Bal Kenna admits the system had passed the fire service requirements, rating it a state-of-the-art facility with very good pump capacities.
We will train the fire team from Orica how to use fire extinguishers or the fixed insulation at the initial stage while the fire truck is on their way. Public partnership working together to minimize the damage of lives and property and to prevent the fire from spreading.
Out of the 9 water taps stationed around the perimeter of the company's operations area is a tap specifically fitted for Lae's main market area for fire emergencies. The main water reservoir contains 300,000 litres of water stocked to its brim. Of the 2 main pumps is a standby pump that can be connected to a fire truck in the event that the generators shut down. The facility, built over 6 months with the help of Dulux engineering consultants, has met Australian standards.
Engineers from within Dulux, Australia as well, they've put in all the efforts in doing all the studies so that everything is calculated well and we can fight the fire accordingly through the strategic locations.
Many business houses in Lae have taken the initiative to fit their own fire systems within company buildings, following multiple fires catching nearby buildings, mostly company property. There have been 17 cases over the last 2 years in Lae due to no nearby fire systems to contain the flames. This year, the first fire case for Lae was reported last week. Colin Barilai, National EMTV News, Lae.
The business community has a long history of partnering with hospitals and clinics and advocating for better infrastructure, and with good reason. Papua New Guinea's infant and maternal mortality rates are among the highest in the world, and with 80% of the country's population living in rural areas away from basic infrastructure. The recent introduction of General Electric's V-Scan mobile imaging is proving to be beneficial. And the good news is that GE has no plans of slowing down anytime soon. Leanne Gerari with this report.
The device can fit in a pocket and help doctors provide immediate care and additional information that can help them arrive at a diagnosis without having to transfer patients long distances to the nearest hospital. Recent figures from the World Health Organization are a stark reminder of the many challenges we face in global healthcare today. The V-Scan mobile imaging is a veritable game changer for healthcare in developing countries like Papua New Guinea. Through a partnership with the PNG Tribal Foundation, global conglomerate General Electric, through their subsidiary GE Healthcare, introduced the V-Scan late last year in a rollout that saw 7 rural health centers in the Enga province receive the test pocket ultrasound units. And GE in PNG does not aim to stop there. In an exclusive interview with EMTV, GE's Vice Chairman John Rice spoke about the next generation of the V-Scan, soon to be available in the country, as well as the company's plans to expand the program.
We're confident it will work, so we're going to expand the program, and we look for great results. You know, the next generation of the V-Scan will be technology that works on a smartphone. So you'll have a software application for the smartphone and a transducer that plugs into the smartphone with a UBS port equivalent, and that will make it even easier to spread this technology around the world to places where it hasn't heretofore been available.
GE's focus on reverse innovation means products can be designed to meet the needs of developing markets while also being of value for developed countries, a particular challenge for Papua New Guinea, providing healthcare in rural areas with little to no access to electricity and qualified healthcare workers.
Despite the country's economic setbacks as a result of the global environment, investor confidence is still very strong, as evidenced by global conglomerates like General Electric showing interest in continuing to invest in Papua New Guinea.
Well, we have a great view of the future for our company here in Papua New Guinea because we're concentrating in technology infrastructure businesses, so that's power generation, water purification, healthcare, supporting the oil and gas and mining industries, and those are all activities that are very important to Papua New Guinea.
Leanjarari, National EMTV News.
And now looking at our finance news, the kina closed at $0.3265 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3190, $0.4245 Australian dollars, $0.2841 euro and 35.84 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold and copper closed higher while coffee and cocoa closed the day lower. Palm oil and copper also closed lower while crude oil closed the day higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 22.4 points higher, the ASX closed at 0.9 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 0.3 points higher. A Mother's Medal Hall at the Divine Word University call for more research on PNG's biodiversity, and Bethany Harriman looks at the transport industry. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. From the 900 plus people who graduated on Sunday from Divine Word University, Amelia Watts was the highest GPA scorer. The mother of three picked up a gold medal and raked in other awards as well. Amelia says she did it with great family support, especially from her husband, Tony. Rachel Shise with this report.
It was the biggest ever for the university, graduating more than 1,000 graduates nationwide, and Amelia Watts stood out with the highest grade point average score of 4.
Achieving a GPA of 4 has come with sacrifices, yes. My biggest competitor was me. I always tried to outperform myself. If I did something, the next one had to be better. It wasn't all about study either. It was about mixing pleasure and study. I managed to do that effectively, and yes, the results have spoken for themselves.
The mother of three has successfully juggled motherhood with her studies and rightfully bagged a gold medal.
As a mom, a full-time mom as well, and I was also helping my husband run his business here in Madang. So it wasn't easy, but with a lot of commitment and support, I've managed to come this far. And I'm pretty relieved, yes.
Watts raked in other awards as well and says all wouldn't be possible without her family support, especially her husband, Tony.
My challenge to the rest of the Papua New Guinean menfolk is that don't see a woman or a girl as some second-class feeders or some second citizens. No. They have more to contribute to this country and the society. They are valuable, they have a lot of energy, and they can give more back to the society if you give them that room, that relaxation, and they can achieve something for us. As family units, but as a country too, it's a challenge for a modernization and modern society.
Amelia flew into Madang for her graduation from Melbourne, where she's currently studying at the Swinburne University. She will be graduating next year in Melbourne with a double master's degree, and again, she will be an Australian award recipient. Rachel Shise, National EMTV News, Madang.
Research on Papua New Guinea's unique biodiversity is lacking, and there is need for biologists in the country to do research and publish them. In the meantime, the New Guinea Binatang Research Centre in Madang has published over 150 research papers that have also discovered new species of insects and amphibians. The need for more research is one of the challenges identified at the workshop on communicating conservation practice in Papua New Guinea held in Port Moresby.
The Communication Conservation Practice Workshop today began and had a number of research papers presented on PNG's biodiversity. The workshop was put together by Mama Ground Conservation Trust and funding from ExxonMobil. The workshop hopes to bring together conservation researchers, practitioners, academics, the private sector and donors to update each other on the focus and status of their activities.
We are doing in terms of research findings, can inform policy, can be used in terms of planning and for public consumption.
From insects to plants and animals that are unique to PNG, each research identified key challenges facing the protection of each species. One that stood out was the fact that there were not enough national biologists and marine biologists researching and publishing their researches. Deputy Director of New Guinea Binatang Research Center, Pagi Toko, says that research in PNG has become extremely expensive, preventing research.
Imagine a place where you have a hotspot of biodiversity without biologists. That's a shame.
Funding for research most often comes from non-government organizations. Toko said that in the research they have found that almost 90% of insects found are new to science. He said unfortunately insects were not an interest to most national researchers and research still lacks in that area.
It really needs a lot of work to work on it, and we need taxonomists, we need DNA analysis to finally confirm species.
Other issues facing conservations were commercial logging and oil palm plantations that were quickly replacing forests. Adelaide Sirox Kari, National, MTV News.
Unless you understand the intricacies of public motor vehicle travel, getting on a PMV bus for interprovincial travel can be quite daunting. The growth of the transport industry in Papua New Guinea has given rise to a tough market of unregulated informal employment at the PMV stops along the highways and at towns and cities outside of Port Moresby. Bethany Harriman takes a look at the PMV industry.
5 Kina bus crews, so named because of their job of finding passengers for PMVs for a commission, flood the PMV bus stops. Their methods range from sweet-talking to in-your-face harassment of potential passengers. With high unemployment, working as a 5 Kina bus crew provides a much-needed source of cash for young men looking for a legal means of earning an income. In Ley, Medang and the Highlands, it draws young men from all over the nearby villages and settlements. It's an evolution in the transport industry employment that occurred over 30 years. The growing number of bus owners has meant stiffer competition, and those able to get all the seats on their buses filled are the first to depart. That competition has helped to keep the price of PMV travel down, but it means bus owners have to struggle to maintain healthy profit margins when roads are bad and people are hired to push PMVs bogged down in damaged road sections.
Mereng provincial government must look na straight him. Road was plenty tax na one of people pay him go low. Mereng provincial government na no look sa low.
Along the highways, pulling out PMV from a bog has also become a lucrative means of earning an income for people living along isolated sections of the Ley Medang Highway, as well as in the Highlands region where government services are scarce. Nearly every village has a rope or chain kept for PMVs that get stuck in the mud. Each vehicle is charged between 50 and 100 kina depending on the size and the effort taken to pull it out.
Road bagara banta block kolwara so mi plogoya te mi plogoy 50 kina 100 kina 70 kina so still road bagara bet you will buy na go kamsta.
Along the Highlands Highway, the cost of PMV travel rose in February after locals began charging a tax of 100 kina for every PMV crossing a damaged road section at Kolwara in the Eastern Highlands. The justification was that the Works Department had cut a bypass onto customary land without compensating landowners. The costs were passed on to passengers. Apart from motor vehicle registration, licensing and traffic rules, everything else, including commission-seeking bus crews, remain unregulated. There are no specific rules governing areas loosely associated to traffic service provisions. For the government, it remains a difficult task to manage those who make an income outside of formal employment perimeters. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Leh.
Trukai Sports is up next. I'll be back with the details.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. PNG Olympic Committee President Sir John Dwanikura is appealing to the corporate sector to get behind the Trukai Fun Run auction. The first auction is scheduled to commence tonight at the Leh Yacht Club and another to be hosted tomorrow in Port Moresby. The business community will have the chance to bid for this year's official 2016 Trukai Fun Run t-shirts. Funds raised from the auction will sponsor Team PNG to major international competitions. This year's funds will assist athletes to the Olympic Games in Rio in August. Successful bidders will be given a chance to feature their logos on the Fun Run t-shirts. While the host organising committee have 200 days remaining to ensure all construction work has been completed for the 7th PNG Games, they're appealing to all provinces to confirm the number of sports and athletes to compete at this year's Games. Deputy Chairman of the HOC, Daka Wagai, says this will assist the HOC to arrange the logistics on the ground and other operational processes. The preparation of provinces is a responsibility under the wing of the PNG Sports Foundation. In the months leading into the year, the foundation had been conducting regional workshops addressing the importance and need for provincial teams to adhere to the guidelines and provisions of the Games Charter. With less than 10 months remaining till the staging of the Games, provincial teams are yet to confirm the number of athletes and sports they will be competing in. Deputy Chairman of the host organising committee, Daka Wagai, says this is a concern for the HOC as it slows down the process of formalising logistical requirements on the ground.
We will also make an appeal to the provinces to make sure that their provincial teams are now shaping up, and we would like information about how many teams will be coming here, so that that will guide our preparations on the ground. How many provinces that will be coming in, how many participants will be taking part. All these are important factors to consider in our planning as we continue with our preparation work here.
While the HOC is yet to release the number of sports and athletes for this year's Games, Director of Events, Marketing and Sponsorship for the PNGSF, John Susuve, told MTV earlier this year the foundation will be looking to include all sports for the 7th edition of the Games. However, due to the logistical challenges posed by Kimbe and the surrounding towns between the districts, realistically sports like swimming, squash and golf cannot be included. With the first PNG Games meeting scheduled for Saturday the 19th of March in Kimbe, it is anticipated that figures on the number of sports and the participation of athletes will be confirmed. Meanwhile, Chairman of the Games Council and Executive Director of the PNG Sports Foundation, Peter Chamalili Jr. has urged all council members to attend the first meeting of the year in Kimbe on Saturday the 19th of March. The forthcoming meeting is crucial as the host organising committee will clarify the ongoing preparations on the ground in Kimbe. The amended Games Charter will also be tabled for adoption during the meet this weekend. In the meantime, Chamalili has said all provinces are making early preparations for the 2016 Games, and the participation level and competition standard for the 7th PNG Games is anticipated to reach new heights. Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To football now, a young left-back defender currently playing with Hekara United has caught the attention of the entire football fraternity. He played alongside older brother Alwyn Komolong in the national team during the 2015 Pacific Games.
Felix Komolong, a 19-year-old footballer, often ranked by many as one of the best defenders of his time, given the number of international matches and tournaments he played for PNG.
I was the vice captain and we went down, first experience, under 17s, I think. It was we went down to Vanuatu. Yeah, like we always do. PNG didn't do that well, but it was still a good experience. Then the next one was under 20s. That was when Winton Rufo was the coach. I captained them. It was another bad tournament, but still a good experience. I learned a lot. And then under 23s, Ricky Herbert. I learned so much. Ricky Herbert's one of the best coaches I've been coached by.
Called to join PNG men's under-23 squad in 2015 Pacific Games, was a special moment for Felix as his older brother Alwin was the captain for the national side.
It's weird because we lived together, we grew up together, but it was a good experience, you know. Outside we're personal, he's my brother, but inside the field he's my teammate, so I have to listen to him, whatever he says, you know. So yeah.
By that time, PNG men's national team had not won any form of silverware or medal for the country, and the pressure was on the side to deliver. And deliver they did. Winning the bronze medal against Fiji may not be as big as winning a gold medal, but it was an achievement for the men's national side after 28 years of no success. Felix began his club career with Medang this season, then made the end of the season transfer to Hekari United after Medang failed to make the final series. Felix, now a left defender for Hekari, is dubbed by his coach as probably one of the most talented defenders at the moment and recently named in the national team for the Oceania Football Confederation Nations Cup. With the future ever more so promising for the young defender, he has this message for the young and aspiring footballers in Papua New Guinea.
I know it might sound cliche, but it's just hard work. If you work hard, if you put your head down, you'll get where you want. Kind of train every training session, take it seriously. Treat it like you're gonna play the next day.
Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
Israel Eliab is still waiting for a chance to make his debut for English super club, the London Broncos. Eliab flew to the United Kingdom 3 weeks ago but sustained a hamstring strain in an early training session and is hoping to play his first match soon.
Eliab missed out on pre-season matches due to his injury and was hoping to wear a jumper last weekend, but was ruled out. He is eager to make his debut in this weekend's clash against Featherstone Rovers, depending on his recovery. Eliab is slowly getting used to training and the weather conditions in England. With the help of a few Australian players and fellow Pacific Islander Wes Neguama settling in, and training took a much shorter time than expected. Britain has seen a number of Papua New Guinea players over the last few years, including the legendary Stanley Gene. But there are others currently playing in the competition like Menziere of Sheffield Eagles, who opted to retire but then renewed his contract with the team last year. Elijah Lavet, National EMTV Sports.
And that's all for Trukai Sports. I'll be back with the weather details for the next 24 hours. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Taking a look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region. In Port Moresby, late showers. Showers for Daro and Kerema, and a shower or two for Arotau and Popondetta. Now recapping our top stories for tonight. Public servants warned against unnecessary overseas trips. Infighting affects work on houses at Beon Prison, and major improvements for Wewak Hospital. And that's the news, sports and weather for tonight, Wednesday, the 16th of March, 2016. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Lorraine Genia. Pleasant viewing. Good night.